This is Robert Mardlacci, the Mindshare Learning Report, Canada's Learning and Technology e-magazine, and welcome to This Week in Canadian EdTech MindShareTV World Teachers Day Special Edition. And joining me today, Ms. Zelia Capitao-Tavares, an educator from McMurray Public School of the TDSB, who was just honored as a Prime Minister Award winner for teaching excellence in STEM. She's a multi-award winner, having won the Schools of the Future Challenge twice in the past, holds a master's degree from the University of Toronto, OISE, and is just such an inspiring teacher to be around. She happens to serve on the Mindshare Advisory Board for the Mindshare Report. And Zelia, congratulations. How did you hear about it? How does it make you feel on this special day of the stars are aligned today?
The stars are aligned. Well, happy World Teachers Day to everyone and to all education workers, because this is definitely, it doesn't happen on its own, and such value in everyone who has a part in the teaching profession. So grateful and happy day to all of you. So I'm a little nervous. I'm going to be honest. Like it's a little, I'm in awe of the appreciation that I've received from the nomination team who put this together. So I was approached by educator Victor Wong, who teaches at George Vanier Secondary School, and he wanted to do something to honor, I guess, the support and the many things that I do as an educator, but more importantly, that we have done together, and the work that I've been doing with other educators within our district and beyond our district. He really just wanted to capture what I do, and his words that he used in the nomination package really was warm, and it was heartfelt, and I knew it was about me, but I was at the same time, wow, that's me. And he captured in a way of what I do as an educator, but really what many of us do as educators, and highlighting the privilege of connecting with education workers, families, our students that we work with, the impact that we have in the learning and sharing, as well as capturing the importance of partnerships and the community partnerships that help support and influence what we're doing in our class communities to make learning relevant and attainable for many of our students.
The student experience of your kids, and I'll use the Business Day example, where I've been an advisor and served on the panel to interview the kids for their various jobs. And we're talking grades 4, 5, and 6 in some cases. That project-based experience, creating essentially a startup company over 2 months, and the learning that happens in your showcase, it is what's the word I'm looking for? It is a life-changing experience for these kids, and you've had them come back, and some have gone into business and studied business, and but this didn't happen overnight for you. You know, it takes a lot of confidence in the teacher and experience and mentorship, perhaps, to infuse some of the project-based, hands-on, experiential learning, and it's a different mindset, isn't it? It's really you're nurturing that growth mindset and the problem-solving skills that we talk about. How did you get on this track? Who inspired you?
Over the years, so I'm going into year 26 now. So, and I'm still excited about what's going to happen this year and the years to come. But early in my career, it's just listening and observing and having my own mentors. Julia Carter, who's an administrator, recently retired from the TDSB. Kelvin Harry-Singh, all these amazing educators who were my mentors. And what I learned from them was the importance of listening, the importance of taking their guidance in what I wanted to do to go down my path, and knowing that my path would change based on the needs of the students, that what I had available to me at the time, as well as like the biggest part is facilitation of discussions. And so as a mentor now, for other educators who see me as a mentor based on their words, like, I believe in partnerships all the time. And I think there's so much value in facilitating those ongoing discussions and co-planning lessons and co-teaching whenever possible. Having a partner teacher. So Kamala Ramran has been my partner teacher for over 20 years. And
Another
regardless,
amazing educator colleague of yours who's won
absolutely.
many awards.
And the value of having a teaching partner, regardless of what grade, is that you have someone as a soundboard to bounce off ideas and to really ask the question, well, why, and what are the SMART goals based on that? Like, is it going to, who's it supporting, and how's that going to develop, and how's the student going to show what they have learned, and does that, if you do for this student, will it work for that student? If not, what do we need to do to support them? So that ongoing reflective learning and discussion to ensure that we're doing what is based on the needs of who's in front of us today, because it's very different from who was with us last school year.
I love the fact that you're so transparent about the learning that's happening in action. You are sharing the learning in your class through social media. I presume that actually is strategic and serves as an assessment tool when you're doing your formative assessment, that you have it captured in a sense.
It acts as an archive in many
Yeah.
ways, and it allows me to go back and see what we've been doing and where we've been doing it. And then if you were to go back, a few years, you would see like, oh, this is happening early in the year, this happened later in the year. And that's all, again, based on circumstances of our school environment, the global environment. The pandemic kicked in, and it changed the way we were developing our lessons and supporting students. But more importantly, it's really just, where are they at, and what can we bring in to facilitate the learning for them, and giving them a voice on what they would like to see done. So there's some things that I may have done in previous years that I haven't touched in a while because it didn't meet what the needs or the interests of the students who are in front of me. And so always being prepared to adapt so that we could support our target audience, which is our students.
So you have the business day, and there was a big focus on STEM, and that's what you were recognized for. Talk to me about the impact that it's made, because we sponsor First Robotics Team 1325 here at the Mindshare Workspace. And many of these kids go on to graduate, go to engineering school, are working for Apple and Tesla and Google. It's incredible when you expose the kids to the tools that are relatable to uh, career opportunities.
Really, it's
And
about, sorry.
no, and just relatable to real life learning skills that will serve them well.
It's really about creating or curating learning experiences that foster the creativity and improve student learning and their outcomes. And so these experiences tie in as much as we can the equity lens, connecting educators to work with our class. So if I find an educator is doing great things, I try to invite them in virtually or in person to co-teach or lead lessons on how to use certain strategies, the tools, and develop ideas. And such tools that, Makey, microbits, using make code, Scratch, or Links coding for the students to explore, or Minecraft, a tool that we've been using a lot, especially with our Girls with Game Club that's sponsored by Dell. But in all of these, what's happening is the students are developing agency while we're leveraging technology. And so we're diving deep into learning about the global goals, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as well as learning about the global competencies. Using the design thinking process as a framework to look at a challenge or an opportunity through an empathy lens, and coming up with potential solutions, and ideating and testing and going back and doing all that. So providing the time and the space for that thinking and questioning and creating and going back to the drawing board again and starting over again in our spaces is so important for the students. And they really do value the time to engage in those discussions and to try things out.
Thank you for that. I was going to ask you about agency, and when you give kids agency, they really thrive, and we've seen that through examples of the work and the showcases, the business showcases. I shared an article on social media yesterday, and it was research, scientific research about what works to help kids thrive. And parents coddling their kids or telling them how amazing they are is not what it's really about. It's about them doing the self discovery and developing that problem solving mindset, and becoming resilient. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's easier said than done, isn't it?
Again, it's ensuring that we're providing within our time. We have so many responsibilities as an educator that we need to do and to cover, and so that we report on effectively. And with that, hanging over our heads, how do we still allow that time and space for creativity, for them to try things and to work through their fails and rethink the pathway to head towards their goal, or rethinking their goal if it needs to change based on the information or the resources that we have available to us. And I think time is always the biggest struggle, and how do we manage that to ensure that they have that? It's more about them than us.
And you talked about partnerships, and it's really a partnership. It takes a digital village to raise a child in the 21st century, I like to say. And parents are as partners, you have industry as partners, and there are a number of stakeholders that really help round out the kids. And you can't do it alone, whether it's parents or teachers. It's a team sport, right? Raising a child is a team sport. And it's and so I just wanted to focus on that and really emphasize the importance of parents understanding what you're teaching is something that they need to embrace as well to be consistent and help their kids, as opposed to coddle them and tell them how amazing they are. Because when I was coaching, in soccer or hockey, and parents had these rosy colored glasses and thinking their kids were the best, and why weren't they playing more, or why weren't they on the first line or starting line, so I really value the lens and the agency you provide the kids. And it really I just have to ask you, when is the book coming? Because I think there's a book, and when I wish a book upon someone, they usually end up writing it. So how does that sound?
And, again, opportunities as they arise, we work towards them. And, based on what's going on, there's a possibility. Yeah, who knows?
Absolutely. Now, you might have an artifact to just share in terms of the STEM activities that the kids are embarking on.
So much fun, right? Like, we started the year off, diving right into what's design thinking and how do we ask questions. And so they were presented with the challenge of designing a art space outdoors that brings people together in an outdoor space in our neighborhood. So looking at a city block and how can we beautify that? We looked at different architectural features within our city and what did we want to highlight? And then they had to take into consideration sustainability. Is it accessible?
Brilliant.
And the likelihood that could this be something we can actually do in our city? Now, in the whole process of the pathway, using the design thinking process as the framework, they used loose parts. So then they had to really think, how am I going to communicate these ideas using loose parts? And each year, variations of this project, they always amaze. Again, provided the opportunities and the tools. So here's just one example, and it's a picture. And so this is their build, and what we did is we green screened the students into their design for scale of their design, and how they would, build this in an outdoor space. And so what this space is, it's an outdoor game board space, so that people could come together. And they, take the game board, leave a game board kind of concept, and a station where they can purchase locally produced foods and snacks. They could sign up, the community could sign up for when they would like to sell theirs to anyone who would like to come by, sit down, have something to eat, and play board games with a neighbor. And then it gets sealed up, and then, overnight or during weathery days, but just an example of some of the creativity they're doing. And then they're using Flip. I'm going to finish Flip. So cute. Yeah. They're using Flip to record their pitch of why their design needs to be commissioned by the City of Toronto to put together for our community here around McMurray.
That is
awesome
so brilliant.
Is that?
Yeah. That is, that's incredible. And it's, perhaps you'll have some, besides entrepreneurs, some city planners emerge out of your class. And if you want a guest speaker, my wife was a senior manager in planning for many years. So I'm sure I could twist her arm, even though she's city clerk now. But I'm sure she'd love to talk to the kids about that career and what they do. And it's a pretty cool gig. So kudos to you for really, raising the bar and giving them some really cool things that, how do they respond? How are they responding to you when on some of these projects? What's the feedback like?
So for many students, it's the uncertainty around what happens if I don't get it right the first time. And so it's just really unpacking, what does that mean? And why do we feel that we need to get it right the first time? And the importance of, like, we learn from our mistakes, because now we know that that's one way we're not going to do it for this one, but we might use that mistake. It might be a potential solution for another challenge. And so, and valuing that learning that's happening in that. So it is early in the year, and we're building these opportunities for them to work through that, problem solving, critical thinking, and those feelings that come with that. So even the social emotional learning that comes around how to work through our frustrations, how to work through the stresses, the good and the bad stresses that come from not getting it right the first time, or worrying about what other people are going to think about my design. And as they're working on their pitches, you could see the smiles on their face as they're rehearsing before they go and record it, because they're quite proud of themselves now, like now that they've gone through this process
Right.
once. Right. So
Yeah.
as we continue to do this, that comfort level will continue to broaden.
Amazing. And to be doing the podcasting and those sorts of activities. Saying, I've been podcasting for 16 years, and had I started, when I was in grade 4 or 5, I would have been a lot further ahead. So kudos to you for giving them the agency to explore and learn, the various tools to communicate and to storytell and to be agents of change and problem solvers. So with that, I want to let you get home, and I'm sure, no doubt, you'll be celebrating tonight and perhaps going out to dinner and being treated.
You never know, right? I might be actually just going home to cooking. But I do want to say again, happy World Teachers Day to everyone, and to all the educators and the families who supported the nomination package, and to the educators that I've worked with in recent years, like the hybrid teacher digitally learners, an amazing team that I had the privilege of being a part of, and educators here at Merck Junior Public School, and the support here has always been tremendous. And yourself for the opportunity to share in your support over the years. I'm grateful to you. And again, Victor Wong, thank you for believing in me enough to put this nomination in, and the privilege of being recognized as a regional winner. Thank you.
Congratulations again. And as a proud graduate of the Toronto District School Board, you make me very proud of being part of that community. And it will forever be etched in my mind, and the impact that teachers made on my learning journey and my career impact and influenced by has been exponential. So with that, thank you again, Zelia Capitao-Tavares, educator at the McBurk Public School, recipient of the Prime Minister Award in Teaching Excellence in STEM. My name is Robert Mardlacci, the Mindshare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www.mindshare learning to get your latest issue and learn more about our upcoming Canadian EdTech Leadership Summit, October 19th and 20th in Montreal. It's not too late to register for either online or in person. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.